Yeah, let's go. We came a long way, that's what the song say. And I could do all things, I could do all things. Yeah, I could do all things, yeah. We came a long way, that's what the song say. And I could do all things.
You're addressing web accessibility in two ways. The first is the UI, so that is that little widget that we're so familiar with. Is that little blue man, and essentially you would click on that. When you do, you're going to see our UI show up, and that is going to display all of our our profiles as well as our as the 50 buttons beneath that. All right. Let me see if I can share my screen. Edward, can you see my screen?
All right, I'm going to show it.
Okay, awesome. So basically, we were talking about two essential pieces of the puzzle. The first is the UI, and we go ahead and click on it, and now you can see all of the buttons that we were describing prior. So first of all, it comes in 14 different languages. You have a built-in dictionary for people who don't understand some of the content or may have difficulty understanding some of the content in your website. Then you have these profiles, which are basically bundles of adjustments. We'll go over that in a second. And then you have 50 different buttons to create your own personalized profile. You could change the font. You can change the contrast. You can see here there's light contrast, dark contrast. If someone, like we talked about, is colorblind, they can go into and go ahead and select the colors that they best perceive. If someone has difficulty focusing on certain parts of the content, they can actually hide the images and focus solely on the text. It really puts the user in the driver's seat, and that's really what the point is. You have designed your site the way you have designed it, but you're giving the ability to people with disabilities to go ahead and customize it to their own abilities and disabilities. Now, as we talked about before,
this is on the fly. There is nothing that I need you to turn this on.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for clarifying that. It's totally on the fly and very intuitive, very simple to use. Now, we talked about this feature, the Caesar Safe profile. We can go ahead and click on it, and you're going to see that all of the elements that were moving have stopped, and the colors are much dimmer, making for a much safer experience for that particular user. Now look at the vision impaired profile. This appeals to a very large part of the population, including the aging population, many of whom are our dental practices.
That's everybody.
Yes.
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 You are part of that. That is
yes.
you.
100%. So if we go ahead and click on that, you can see that the entire site has been expanded by about 100%. You can see that the font has been changed to something much more readable and that the colors are much more pronounced. And that makes a big difference for people with degrading eyesight, tunnel vision, cataracts, glaucoma, all those conditions. We even talked about ADHD. And this is a great little tool that is super useful for that community. We click on this and you have a reading mask that will help the user to focus on certain elements of the content. Again, these might seem like small adjustments to us, but they are massive adjustments to people in these communities. So that is the first element, the UI. The AI is basically broken into two pieces. Like we talked about keyboard navigation. Now let's go ahead and start to key through this just using the tab button. As you can see with this little blue box, I can access every single button on this site. Again, that is a huge difference from what would normally happen. If I go to most websites and I try to do that, it will just go to the footer. I can't activate anything. I can't buy anything. In this case, I hit enter and I can go ahead and do the shopping that I want to do. I hit escape and I'm right back to where I began. Now, the last element that's really important.
So if someone is navigating a website, I mean, if you think you're having a hard time navigating a website, like just think about how you navigate a website on your cell phone and you're trying to press those little buttons and you keep missing. Now imagine you have a full-blown computer and you still can't navigate it. So people have these devices that they use and the software like accessibe that allows them to navigate on a website. That's phenomenal. If you want to simulate something, even like very minor, just try accessing website with just, with your fist and a keyboard. It's like it just doesn't work together with the website.
Exactly. And we have come to the point, Edward, where we're so reliant on the internet for everything that it's not just about, buying a new pair of shoes. This is like we talked about. This is really important things. We might be buying our pharmaceuticals online. whatever it might be. So it's really critically important. And when we're talking about dental practices, that's really important as well. These, people rely on their dentist for important healthcare work. So the last thing I wanted to touch upon in terms of the performance of the product is if we go into here and we look at this particular image, we can see inside the console that this image has no description. It just says IMG. I'm not sure if you can see that. I hope you can, but basically it just says IMG. And so if a screen reader, like we talked about, came across this image, it would just say image, 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 image. No real information for the user. Now,
And that's pretty standard in the industry because a lot of times the software that we use on websites, it can pull it from other sites, and sometimes it's dynamic and it may not have a description.
Exactly. Now, if I go ahead and hit Alt-1 and activate accessibe, you can see here that it says extra sale, 30% off, shop now, woman folding clothes. And if we look at the image, that's a pretty accurate description that's been pulled. And essentially what the AI is doing is that it's recognizing certain elements in the image, including some of the text that's embedded, and creating and compiling a description.
Again, for you non-technical people, they have access to a really, really fast computer that takes the image and it scans it almost real time, and it looks at it, identifies some key items in the image, and tries to identify it and make it relatable to us humans. So that's pretty powerful technology.
Exactly.
If you have to pay for someone to do that, that'd be a lot of money for them to do it for every one of your customers.
Exactly. And this is the like the wheelhouse of AI. It is amazing at taking, for example, an image, comparing it to millions and millions of other images, pulling out the elements that it recognizes, and then translating that, or bringing us that message in this image description that is so useful for people in this disabilities community.
I want to know your thoughts, your comments. Put them in the comments below. If you have the opportunity, do that thing, smash that like button. All right, guys, I'll see you all next video.
Yeah, we came a long way. That's what the song say, and I can do all things.